concept. So that means that we all have a shared kitchen. So we are currently located at Urban Eats in St. Louis, Missouri. I'll give you a little history about them. So when the pandemic hit, they shut their restaurant down. And they got a grant and they redid their kitchen and all of that stuff to be a commercial commissary kitchen. And then up in the front part, they have this really large building. So in the front part of it, they have sectioned off different parts of the building, like in the front, to be different vendors, retail vendors. So like we are the bakery. So we do the pastries and we do dessert. There is a sushi guy in there. There's a Creole guy in there. There are tacos. We have a vegan person moving in. I'm trying to think. We've had bagels in there. So we just have a lot of different food concepts. So it is an incubator kitchen. So what it is meant to do is give businesses, new food business, new food concept businesses, whatever you want to call them, the opportunity to take their business to the next level. Okay. And then you go there, you grow your business, and then the whole point is for you to move on. Okay. We are in our move on phase. Whoop, whoop, celebrate. We are so excited about that. It worked for us. It was really great. We learned a lot. So I'm going to go over the pros and cons. So right now, the way that it works is you bake in the commercial kitchen, which is in back. And so in back, there might be 2 vendors baking or cooking, because some of them are cooking, we're baking. There's a pizza guy back there with us. So there could be 2 vendors. Sometimes there's like 4 vendors back there. I mean, we've had it up to like 5 or 6. It gets crazy. And you're all doing your own thing. And then those of us vendors who have retail spaces then take it up front, and then we sell out of our retail space. Okay, so that's what the food hall concept is. So I'll start with the pros, and then we'll go over some of the cons with this concept. Okay, I'm gonna turn off my banner. All right, so it has been amazing to get to know all the other vendors. Like, we all kind of went in there. Obviously, I told you it revamped itself during the pandemic. So we all went in during the pandemic. So we all went in with like, what are we going to do to grow our business, right? And so it's been really amazing to get to know these other vendors, to understand their businesses, but we also bounce ideas off of each other. We are constantly like, what do you do for this? Who do you use for that? What would you do in this situation? Hey, can I run this idea by you? That's really great. That's really great because we're not just talking to other business owners. We're talking to other food business owners. Now they don't do baking, so there's that aspect of it. Well, I guess the pizza guy technically does. Actually, the pizza guy does, and the bagel guy. You know, and we talk to them a lot. Like, they're great guys. We love hanging out with them. They have great ideas. They've helped us change some of our social media stuff. Like, they're just really, really helpful guys. And so we're always sitting around bouncing ideas. That has been like the number one thing. We've all become friends. Like, I mean, I have just recently met them, because if you don't know me, let me just tell you a little bit about the business. So my mom and my sister run the bakery in St. Louis. I run it from Florida. So I do all of our marketing, all our online stuff, all the phone calls, all the contracts, all the bills. Like, I do that stuff. My mom does all of the baking, and my sister runs the retail space. And so that's what we do. So we're a team of 3. And so I have even gotten to know these guys really well, even though I'm not in the kitchen. I just got to recently meet them. I had to go home for a funeral. So I got to meet the other vendors, but I talked to them on the phone. I'm on speakerphone with them. I'm in powwows with them. I'm on Zooms with them. Like, I've gotten to know them. So that has been really amazing. So that's a definite pro, just having other people going through the same thing, especially through COVID, to bounce ideas with. So that's been great. And it's not, and you know, we're all trying to make a concept work. We're all trying to make a business work. So in the food hall concept, you have to work together. Otherwise, it's going to fail. It's not just your business that has to do what it has to do, but we have to make the whole concept work together to grow our businesses. So we all have to be working together. It's just really important to collaborate and work together. On that note, it's great to be able to borrow other people's social media audience followers, okay? Obviously, we all want to grow our social media. We all need to grow our social media. And you've heard that one of the best ways to grow your social media is to collaborate and do all of these things. Working in a food hall concept gives you the opportunity to collaborate. We're always sharing the other vendor stuff. They're tagging us and stuff. We're tagging them and stuff, or like, come down and see us. When somebody walks in and they're there, actually this happens to us a lot. When somebody walks in for, say, the sushi guy, He actually sells our desserts while we're gone, because we're not open when he's open. And so they come in and all of a sudden we're getting his followers and they're like tagging us on Instagram. They're tagging us on Facebook. Like, I just got your guys' treats. These are delicious. I love it. This is the best. Like, all of these things. And of course I'm sharing it out on our social media, right? So it's great to be able to share your audience, whether they're coming through the doors, whether they're tagging us on Facebook, whether we're sharing out everybody's information, those sorts of things. So we're borrowing each other's audiences. That's great. Another pro to, I'm looking at my list here, make sure I cover everything. So another pro is it's a short lease. It's a short lease, a trial run. Okay. I would never advocate for giving up early. Okay, so that is not what I'm advocating when I say this. When I say a short lease, I'll explain more later, but there's a bit of a con to working in a shared kitchen and food hall concept when it comes to cost, your expenses, and budgeting for your expenses, those sorts of things. So we'll go over those and cons, but it's a short leash. So that gives you a trial run. By trial run, I don't mean, can I make this work? What I mean is, how do I make this work? What are some of the things that are going to come up when I own my own retail space? What are some of the things I didn't think of that I'm going to need? What are some of the things that, I've experienced this in the health department. This is how we managed it. Now I know what to do in my own retail space. I know that people are scared to death of the health department. We are huge advocates of not being afraid of your health department. They're there to help you serve your customers in the best way possible. You should always be working with your health department. Have questions, pick up the phone, ask them. That is what they're there for. I'll just let you guys in on a little bit of background information. We are moving locations. I think I said that. I don't even know now. We are moving locations, and in doing so, you best be sure that we picked up the phone and we're constantly on the phone with our health inspector. We have our direct email. We've been emailing her back and forth. We've been checking, like, this is what we have to do in St. Louis. Is this what we have to do over there? We're actually crossing state lines. So that's a little intriguing. Like we're learning some things about crossing state lines and that sort of thing. So we're having to ask, we need to know, like, is this allowed over there? So she has been amazing. So please, please, please do not be afraid of your health inspector. Okay. I totally went on a tangent there. All right. So short lease, it helps you prepare, busy days. What are you going to do? Slow days. What are you going to do? Marketing. It's a great way to practice marketing, because you're going to have customers come in, because the food hall concept is going to have customers come in because all the other vendors are bringing people in. So you're going to have that, but it's a great way for you to practice your marketing and bring in your own customers while also utilizing the customers of the other vendors. So it's a great practice for marketing. I'm not going to lie. It's great. Like I said, like, what's a flow going to look like? What's it like to work those hours? What's it like to work those hours and have to do all that baking? I mean, let's be real. It's a lot of baking. Thank goodness my mom, when she came out of pastry school, she took a job at Caldy's Coffee, which is a local coffee shop. It's a pretty big coffee vendor in St. Louis. And she had to learn to mass produce by herself. And that woman can crank out some pastries. Like, crank out. She has been told by teachers, she has been told by employers, she has been told by a lot of people, like, girl, you can crank some stuff out. So we luck out in that case. But when you're doing your own concept, you got to learn that flow. You need to learn that flow and how that's going to work for you. So the last part I said, work out the kinks, and I'm like, wait, those are the same thing. So yes, working out all those little kinks, your schedule, how you're going to manage it, how you're going to be open, how you're going to run it, those sorts of things. It has been such a great experience learning that, okay? We get to take that information with us to our new retail space. We know exactly what we're doing now. We're not scared. We know how to do it. We know what works, okay? Cons. There are some cons. Not all the other vendors are going to be reliable at all times. So we hold ourselves to very, very high standards. We hold the other vendors to very high standards. But guess what, guys? Those vendors are their own business and they can do, honestly, whatever they want. So if that means they don't want to show up on a Friday, even though they're supposed to be open, guess what? They don't have to open on a Friday. Now, the thing about that is, technically there's a contract and we're supposed to be following the contract, but our landlord, I guess is really what he's considered, doesn't always hold everybody accountable to their contracts. Some people get held accountable, some people don't. So like there's like that kind of dynamic. It is a newer concept for our landlords. So, there's a lot of kinks to work out. But just the fact that not every vendor is going to be as reliable as you are. That was really hard for us. Because if we say we're going to be there, we're going to be there. If we say we're going to do something, we're going to do something. And so not everybody holds their businesses to that same standard. And that's fine. Guess what? It's their business. They get to do whatever they want. You don't control that. And that is a con because you don't control that. We couldn't control what we sold on our menu. We could give a menu, and then if we wanted to make changes, we had to request it. If somebody else had something similar, we would be denied. We had to like work that out with other vendors. So there was a lot that went into that. It really sucks to have to be limited. Like that really sucks. There's, that you don't get that choice. So that's a little problematic sometimes. Our landlord like said some things and made some people mad in the community, and that affected us. That affected us negatively. It affected us negatively because we're under one umbrella, right? So if a vendor, even if it's not the landlord, if another vendor says something, you're looped into that bucket. You're put in there. They're like, well, you're in there with them. Another thing is it's really hard for people to realize like, that's not my boss. I don't work for that person. He is my landlord. And so there's no way to, make that distinction to people in the community. And so some people boycotted the area because of it. And that hurts our business. That affects our business, but that could happen with any vendor. If another vendor isn't reliable, we had a vendor who didn't necessarily take Grubhub orders all the time. So then Grubhub started avoiding the area, like things like that. Like that affects us negatively too. So what everybody else does affects your business because you're not your own business. So that is definitely a con. I mean, I don't know how to explain this. Like it doesn't break your business. It just, you notice the effect. Okay. And you can't control it. And you can't get people to realize that I don't have control over that because they're not I don't own them. I don't work for them. They don't work for me. Like I can't do anything about that. So that's definitely con. And that goes back to like people not being reliable. And so it kind of reflects on you as your business. Like that person's not reliable. They're probably not. And you're like, wait a minute, that whole guilty by association, like that's not fair. There's nothing you can do about it. It is what it is. So here's the biggest con. And this is like the biggest con and the biggest reason it is not sustainable for your business. Okay. It is meant to be short term. Your cost, as your income increases, your cost increases. So when you're in your own space, your rent is the same. Your electricity is roughly the same. But your rent is the same. You get what I'm saying? Like your overhead costs are relatively the same. Like you can predict a lot of your costs. The way that our contract was written up at the food hall concept was, as we increased our hours, the cost in the kitchen increased. As we increased our sales, we owed more money. So as we made more, we paid more. So when you own your own retail space, eventually, here's your bills. You make this much, you have this huge gap. You increase your sales more, you make more, and so forth. In a food hall concept, you increase your income, you increase your expenses. You increase your income, you increase your expenses. So it's like baby steps. It's one of those like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, right? And that can be a little deflating. You're just like, oh my gosh, we had the best month. What are all these bills? Like, why does it not feel like we have all this extra money when we know we made twice as much as we did last month? And yes, you're going to have higher expenses. I mean, when you sell more, you have more food costs, you have more container costs, like expenses. Like I get that. I'm not denying that 100%. But as we sold more, we needed to bake more. As we needed to bake more, we had to pay for more hours in the kitchen. As we had more sales, we paid 10%. So as that increases, we have to pay more. So we don't get to always pocket that, And so that was really hard. That part was hard. Now, can you still grow your business that way? Absolutely. We did it. It works. It's a great concept. Honestly, if you're really nervous about taking on that, and I'll give you the biggest takeaway. The biggest takeaway is spending 6 months in this concept has given us the confidence to know that we absolutely can smash it on our own. Like, we will do just fine. All those thoughts of like, how do I pay the bills? How do I do this? How do I do that? We're doing that. Not only are we doing that, but every single month we're increasing sales, and every single month we're increasing expenses. Like, we're already doing those things. Okay. So the biggest takeaway is we can, you can. Okay. Would I tell you not to do a food hall concept? Okay, if I could do it all over again, would I still do it? Absolutely. Would I tell you not to do it? No. It was a great experience. It was great in growing our business, understanding the business, understanding how to manage payroll and rent and expenses and all of these things. And it was a short-term commitment. Okay, short term. So that fear of, oh, I've got to sign this lease for a really long time. What happens if it doesn't work? That was gone, right? Because it was a short term. So that is definitely like the best thing that we learned from it. Now, can you just go out and get a retail space? Absolutely. Do you have to do it as a food hall concept? No. Like, that just worked for us. And we're so thankful that we had it. We're so thankful that we got that experience. We're so thankful that it aligned perfectly for us when we are ready to take the next step. Do I think you should look for something like that? Absolutely. If there's something out there like that, that's great. I know there's a place in Chesterfield, which is in the St. Louis area, that is actually a food hall concept, but it's all bakery. I'm glad we didn't go that route. That would have been a big struggle, but I know like they have a cake person, and they have like a macaroon person, and they have like a cupcake person. I don't know that I would want to compete like that. That one might be a little bit harder to compete with. But for us, we were the only bakery in there. And so, well, not at first. At first, there was one other person, and then her contract ended, so then she left. But for us, when we became the only food vendor or dessert vendor, like, that worked great for us. None of the other vendors wanted to carry desserts, so they just they sent their people to us. So like, that worked well for us. Okay. So that is what took place for us. It was crazy because in April, the end of April, our lease was up, and we were really nervous about, like, do we stay on? Do we not? Do we stay on? Do we not? We're like, we're just going to stay on. We're just going to stay on. And then a lot of things happened that, like, the universe shoved us and was like, girls, you got this, right? And then right as we were like, okay, let's leave, like, our new lease came up. We had been looking in the area for like 8 months now. The perfect building came up for us. An apartment came up, literally a walking distance for my mom to be able to move. My mom's lease is up. Like, everything aligned perfectly. Like, the universe couldn't have shouted at us any better, like, girls, take this leap, than what it did. And so we're so thankful for that. I will get back on here and tell you guys in a couple of weeks, I don't know when, but like, I'll let you guys know what we did for our new opening and how we have our new concept set up. Pretty much, we found the building, took the lease. We had gone month to month with our current contract at the food hall place. We worked out a deal, and we're actually opening our new space on the 19th. So we signed the lease last Monday. And so we've been booking it to get it ready. So I know you're thinking, like, how does that even happen? Well, I can tell you guys. I'm not going to do it today because I've already been on here for like 20 minutes and I don't want to keep you guys forever, but I'll get back on here. I'll let you know, like, how it went from us signing the lease to being able to open it the very following Wednesday. The 19th is when we're opening. So I'll give you guys, once it's all said and done, I'll give you guys like the rundown on how we handled that. And I also go over like what we did to market it. I should have said this in the beginning. I didn't. I just want to let you guys know, like, when we get on here and we do these lives and we talk about the things that we're doing, none of that is to ever make you feel terrible about yourself or compare yourself. Please don't do that. Like, I have done that, and that's not what I want anybody to ever get from my videos. I literally am getting on here so that you can say, yeah, that doesn't work for me, or, oh my gosh, that's good, or, oh, I could take this and I could do this part of that with my business, because that's what I do. Like, I just absorb a lot of information. I learn from other people and I go, that won't work, but I could do it that way. And that's really why we share this information with you guys. I just want to give you like what we did so you can go, yeah, that doesn't work, or oh, I could, or maybe I could tweak it. So if you guys were able to watch this live, thank you so much for hopping on. I appreciate that. If you have any questions, make sure you drop it in the comments. I know because I'm using StreamYard, there's something you have to like allow me to be able to see your comments. So just drop a comment. I can definitely answer any of the questions that you guys have. I'm going to hop off of here. I hope you guys have a wonderful Friday. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the week. Keep checking back for all the information that we love sharing in this group. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye, you guys.